Hello everyone. In episode 8 of the Frasier Reboot, Frasier is attempting to get a professorship at Harvard, but it's unclear if he would be successful in doing so given the esteemed reputation of the university. With his increased money, Frasier doesn't really need to work in Boston after his successful run as Dr. Crane's host in Chicago. He had the option to relax and enjoy his retirement while concentrating on caring for Freddie. But he took a job at his old college because he wanted to train the next generation of intellectuals. In the B story, the 8th episode of the Frasier Reboot, Frasier explains his true title at Harvard. It turns out that he is referred to be an adjunct visiting guest lecturer in residence rather than a professor. He doesn't elaborate on what that entails exactly in terms of his workload, but his desire to become a professor is spurred on by his pupils' perplexity. He takes extreme measures to expedite the procedure, enlisting Olivia Finch in his mission, and together they devise a scheme to persuade Provost Sharma to accompany them. Finally, Frasier does what he does best, which is to sabotage himself, so ending his hopes for the time being. But it's interesting to wonder if Frasier can have a Harvard professorship. Olivia tells him straight out when he brings up the concept that the university cannot offer him a professorship simply because he is a celebrity or has experience as a psychiatrist. In an earlier interview, Vulture asked the 8 Ivy League chairmen of psychology departments if they thought Frasier could actually become a professor. Not surprisingly, they all stated the same thing. Frasier's schools have very little to no possibility of giving him the classification he wants. Therefore, despite Frasier's obvious brilliance, conceptual understanding, and ability to connect with students, his existing qualifications will prevent him from getting a professorship. He might still be a welcome addition as a clinical supervisor for some of our PhD students who are learning to administer psychological treatments for those diagnosed with psychopathology. It will take him years to get qualified for the position he desires, even if he follows the right path to become a professor. There was no better way to explain Frasier's return to Boston than as a guest professor at Harvard. It has always been evident, though, that this wasn't his main responsibility during the resurrection. It fails to emphasize his greatest quality, which is his desire to assist others. This was demonstrated by his work at KACL and even by his many visits to Cheers. His work is self-fulfilling and he doesn't really require money, so in the Frasier Reboot, he should get into other projects where he can put his life talents to better use.